A battle between three giants is raging on the streets. In one corner, the new Audi A6. In another, the Mercedes E-Class. And finally, the BMW 5 Series. Which one is best? Which one should you buy?
It's just like 3 Michelin-starred restaurants. You will eat very well in all 3 of them, but in one of them you'll probably prefer the taste of its spices. And it's the same here. It's up to your taste. But let's concentrate on this car in this video, the Audi A6. If you want to see the other 2 cars, they're on our channel. Now, the first thing is the looks. Now, this is the S-Line package, and it just looks so aggressive, but also elegant at the same time. I love it. Also, this hood, or the bonnet, is so low to the ground. And these LEDs, man, I don't know what they were doing with them, but they look fantastic, modern, and very bright.
The A6 has one of those timeless designs which will still look good even when the car itself is already old. The vehicle has radars, lidars, cameras, and other sensors, making sure you have a safer driving experience. Audi offers alloys from 17 to 21 inches.
The sidelines of the car, perfect. I mean, it really is an executive's car. Very nice, very refined, but I also like these windows. Look at this. If I sit inside, I bet you won't see me. Do you see me? I'm Mr. President, and you cannot really see me, even up close. As for the rear of the car, well, first of all, you've got this sloping shape. Very elegant. I love it. And of course, the rear window is tinted as well. Now at the back, it's pretty big, sort of aggressive. I'm here, you know, that's what it's saying. And yes, you've got the fake exhaust systems, which some people don't like. I don't mind them personally. But I would like to direct your attention to these LEDs at the back. I think they look just absolutely fantastic, especially this middle part. Awesome. As far as the boot goes, it's pretty standard with a 4-door. You gotta, you know, lean forward a little bit if you want to reach to the back, but yeah, it's fairly sizable, so quite practical.
Can you say elegant again? The rear of the new A6 is both playful with the lighting and refined in its prestigiousness. You will feel familiar in the interior if you watched my review of the new A8. There's the mandatory fighter jet shifter and a plethora of screens both behind the wheel as well as the infotainment and climate controls. The instrument cluster allows you to view many different things like navigation, trip computer, phone contacts, and so on. The infotainment performs smoothly and has a pleasing graphical UI. Climate controls have their own touchscreen, which allows you to control the rear passenger's climate as well. tested model sported air suspension, which costs €2,500, but makes the drive more comfortable, especially considering I'm on 21-inch alloys here.
I don't know what to say. I really don't. I mean, everything will be up there. You know, everything will be super duper if I talk about this car, including the price. This is just such a fantastically lovely car. I never should have driven it. You know how it is when it's like if a normal, ordinary person like me would be put in a palace of some sort for a week, and after that week you'd think, I don't want to live like a normal person anymore. I want to live like royalty from now on. And it's the same in this car. I don't want to drive anything else anymore. This 3-liter diesel up front, it's a V6. I love the sound. I know some people don't like the sound of a diesel, but this is a V6 and it really has such a lovely, calming sound, and you don't even have to, thrash it. It's nicest when you have about a third throttle at about 2,000 RPM, and it really, it just calms you. And just generally, this car is such a lovely place to be in. Everybody will be staring at it. Everybody. Wherever you go, it doesn't matter where you are, everybody will stare at it, except maybe royalty, including you. You will be staring at it as well and thinking, that's my car. And maybe I should talk about the consumption as well. I was driving pretty much everywhere, cities, highways, going up quite large hills and then down again. And the consumption of this 3-liter V6 diesel with almost 300 horsepower and, a fairly heavy car and plenty of oomph is 6.7 liters per 100 kilometers. Some tiny cars with tiny engines don't get this good mileage or kilometerage. It's ridiculous. And I think a part of that is thanks to the new mild hybrid system, which means that you've got a tiny battery that constantly, charges when you brake and so on. And the interesting thing is, we all know auto start stop by now. When you come to a complete stop, the engine shuts off and, you're saving fuel because the engine isn't running. Listen to that sound. You might not hear it. Anyway, but with this, the computer actually shuts off the car sometimes when you let off the throttle. For example, I'm letting off. No, it's not shutting it off. I don't exactly know how the system decides when to shut the engine off, and it does it fairly often. And I think it has to do with the navigation system. If the computer sees that there's going to be a long stretch ahead, it might shut it off. Or if there's a slope downwards. Actually, it doesn't do that because it knows that you need engine braking, but it's quite intelligent, and I don't mind it. I hate the auto start-stop system usually in cars, but with this, I really don't mind it because it's very unobtrusive. Maybe it's a little bit obtrusive when you come to a complete stop and the car shuts off, and you press the throttle a bit more, it turns on, takes a half a second to put it in gear, and then bam, presses you into the seat. But while driving, if it shuts off, it really turns it back on seamlessly. It's quite impressive. And that consumption, 6.7, that's impressive. Ugh, it got dark all of a sudden. On the subject of the infotainment system and the climate control, they're both big screens, touch screens. At first, it looks nice, but I didn't think I would really like using it because I don't like touch screens for a lot of the climate controls and stuff because you still have to look at it instead of at the road. And that's still true with this one. But using it for a while now, I actually quite like it, especially because of the haptic feedback, which means that, with a normal touch screen, you press it and that's it. You don't feel anything like on your phone. But with this, it actually sort of vibrates the entire thing, making you think like you pressed a button. It's quite ingenious, and it works well. I didn't like it at first, way back then when Audi first showed it to us, but when using it, it actually is quite nice. I would like a setting that would allow you to require less of a hard press, because right now I think you maybe have to press a little bit too hard for things to happen, but you can turn the entire thing off and it'll just work as a normal touch screen. So very nice. I was talking about you know, how many fingerprints and dirt and everything gets onto the screens and the piano black plastic, and that's true, it does. But Audi has thought about it. It's a problem, I mean, it's a solution for a problem that probably shouldn't exist, or maybe there's no other way. They give you a little wiping cloth like this, so you can wipe your screens and plastics in a 100,000 euro car. Why? There's also another downside to all this shiny stuff. If you've got a sun at a certain angle, either you or your passenger will be blinded by the reflection. So that's not so nice. But, you know, a few minuses in an otherwise very, very nice car.
The base A6 with the 204 horsepower diesel will cost 55,500 euros, while the currently most powerful one with Quattro drive and all extras will come up to more than 140,000 euros.